What's up, everybody, and welcome. Moments with the Mobleys. I am that dude, Johnnie Mobley Jr.
Hey, y'all, I'm his wife, Deirdra.
And we something like an ordinary couple.
With extraordinary purpose. Greetings, salutations, accolades, and blessings.
What's
Happy
up?
Saturday, babe.
Hmm?
Give me a kiss. Good morning. Great morning. Give me a kiss. Your lips are white. Mwah.
You said my lips white?
A little bit. Mm-hmm.
That was for
That
for the mustache thing?
Do that. Yep, I gave you a little bit of gloss. Not a lot. It's just a little bit.
Because your lips is on bling.
Did you say my lips is on bling?
Yeah.
Never heard it like that before, but okay, I'll take it. That mean they not ashy.
Yeah, your lips is on bling. It's on bling bling.
All right, let's get it.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about trust today.
It should be about us. It should be about trust.
And the reason I want to do that, because we've had...
Why do you want to do that?
We've been doing some marriage coaching, and that seemed to be a huge deficit in the marriage. So what we've been finding out is, so to be honest, nobody 100% trusts their spouse when they first get in a relationship or the marriage. You just don't. Your representative is still there. Representative is still trying to figure your spouse out and figure out yourself. So it's hard to 100% trust, and among a whole lot of other things. So with that being said, I want to talk about it a little bit. Is that all right?
Sure.
You say I was waiting for the people to say something. Is that all right with y'all? We're going to talk a little bit about
it's all right.
Thank you. That's how they sound?
Uh-huh.
All right.
That's the brother. He said, yeah, it's all right.
So what I want to do is ask a couple of questions first.
Okay. You ready to ask them though?
Do you trust your partner? So
You so delayed.
So this is going to be on a strongly agree, somewhat agree, neither agree or disagree, somewhat disagree, or strongly disagree. So,
And who's supposed to be answering this?
you.
That's too many questions. That's too many choices for answers. I forgot already.
Either you strongly or somewhat, you neither, or you strongly don't, or somewhat don't.
Go ahead. You might have to read it again.
You're supposed to be a scholar, man. What you doing?
I am a scholar.
All
You
right.
give me all that. I do better on a 1 to 5 scale.
All right. Is your partner faithful to you?
Are you? Okay, I'm gonna stop playing. Yes.
Strongly agree, somewhat agree,
Oh,
neither agree or
strongly
disagree.
agree. Strongly agree.
All right. Do you believe that you can trust most people?
Do you believe that you can trust most people? I don't know. I don't think I agree with that.
So that's a neither agree or disagree, somewhat or disagree, or strongly disagree.
Somewhat disagree.
Okay. All right. Do you know your partner will always be a very close friend?
Strongly agree.
Okay. When the chips are down, you can count on your partner to sacrifice for you and the family.
Strongly agree.
Okay. Your partner makes you feel sexually desirable.
Strongly agree. Even though you weren't paying me no attention while I was trying to.
Anyway, we had
dance this morning, but
this probably one I ain't gonna get. Do your partner act romantically towards you?
when he wanna.
That ain't one of the things. Either strongly agree, somewhat agree, neither.
Let me tell you what you're not gonna do.
That's not
It
one
said,
of
does
them.
your partner act
Romantically towards you.
romantically towards you? Towards me.
Yes.
Oh, so it strongly agrees, somewhat agree,
Yeah.
somewhat agree.
Yeah, I figured out what that was gonna be. We'll talk about that in a minute.
We ain't got nothing to talk about.
You can rely on your partner to talk to you when you are sad or angry.
Strongly agree.
Your partner will work with you as part of a financial unit.
Strongly agree.
Your partner keeps his promises.
Strongly agree.
Your partner is affectionate towards you.
Strongly agree.
Okay. So this is actually a little test. I'm see what the results gonna be.
So you testing me without my knowledge?
Yeah.
Is that legal?
You my wife, so yeah, it is. All right. So, all right, this is not. Well, where the daggone results at? All right, so I sent you something on your phone.
So why are you looking for the results? Okay.
Yeah.
Today was my first day back in the gym, y'all. You looking for the results?
I am.
Okay.
I hit the thing and it said results, but I don't think it sent me no results. I don't know where it would send the results to. So anyway, go ahead with your story.
Oh, I was just going to insert right there that today was my first day back in the gym. It's been over a month. My knee feels better, praise Jesus. But we get in there at right at 7, I believe, and my husband says, "Okay, we're working our abs today." Who does that?
And then
And he made me do them.
she had a look on her face like,
I should have stayed in my bed
Yeah.
and just not said I was coming. I'm glad I came though. You found them?
yeah. So
Okay.
your score was a 46.
Is that good?
So what it says is they got above 46, between 25 and 40, and below 25. So above 40, you have a deep sense of trust in your partner. Such a strong foundation improves the likelihood that your relationship will remain happy over the long term. If your trust level is high, what? If your trust level is high, the book What Makes Love Last. What? All right. If your trust level is high, the book What Makes Love Last can be a romantic experience that will reaffirm just how in love you are and the tools to help keep it that way. So they was referencing the book.
A book that
Yeah.
would help.
So
Okay.
your score was above 40, which
Right.
means we're in a good place.
Which means I'm in a good place. Can you
Yeah.
answer those questions the same way?
Yeah. I would have. The only thing would have been different with the romantic part is I'd have put you at a strong.
Oh, well, thanks.
All right. So we talking about trust. Do you believe a relationship can work without trust?
Absolutely not.
How much trust? So do you agree with me that
Strongly disagree. Disagree. Strongly agree. Go ahead.
do you agree with me that when we first got married, it wasn't 100% trust?
When we first got married,
Yeah. When we were dating and went into the marriage, Do you believe
But
it
you
was
got to remember, we dated for a long time.
Yeah, we did.
Or so are you saying like the trust was built? You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm asking you. You mean when I first met you, or you mean when we got married? Because when we got married, I completely trusted you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because we had been together.
Did you really though?
I can say when we actually took our vows that I trusted you.
Okay. And in every area.
Yeah, yeah. We
Okay.
were when we actually set our vows, tied the knot. That on that particular day, I did.
All right.
We were doing good. We were in a great place. You had already moved in. Remember?
Mm.
Um, I was working. You were keeping the girls because I worked at night.
Mm.
Um, and we were making goals.
Mm-hmm.
We were good.
Okay.
You about to tell me something that I didn't really trust you?
No. You so you said you trusted me. I guess
Because you gave me no reason to. Like I said, this was we had dated, we had two babies, we had gone through stuff, but we had overcome stuff.
so where would you say that the trust was broken? When I stepped out? Or was it before that?
I think it was before that.
Okay, explain that.
Um, there, I think I can remember like when I think it was when I was pregnant. Was I pregnant with the twins? Whoever I was pregnant with when we worked at the grocery store together.
Mm.
Um, it was around that time. And I
Okay.
want to say, I think it was some of me, but some of your actions, but some of me as well. Because of course
Okay.
I was pregnant, hormones all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, but it was some actions by you that made me kind of
Question.
question, yeah,
All right.
if you
So
were,
as I studied this, and this is not just a study for this part, but it's a long-term study. So as I study this, because I didn't know exactly who I was trying to figure out my identity. So the trust that you had was in the person that I was showing you.
absolutely, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So as stuff began to unravel, with me trying to figure out what my identity is. So you choose different things, and you allow certain things into your life to try to figure out to see if that's who you are. So I believe in that. I think that's when it changed. So a lot of people say, when I met you, you wasn't like this, you changed, type thing. When that statement is said, everybody's trying to figure out what their identity is in life. So because they're not comfortable with what they think their identity is, they continue to search for it. And the next phase of whatever that choice is, usually changes the person, regardless of how it is. So that makes your spouse think that you're changing and you're not the same person.
When it's really that you're evolving
You're
to
evolving
become
and
the
trying to find out
person.
your identity.
Right.
So when the trust now, what I've learned now is that when you get married and you trying to figure out who you are, and then you trying to mend you and your spouse as one, and all these things are happening, that it's a lot of transitioning happening. So it makes it confusing sometimes to just understand, say who I am as a man and then who I am as your husband. which now all of it is the same thing. But, who I am as a man and who I am as a husband, that took a while for us to figure that out. So here's the thing. In marriages, to allow that transition to happen, and understand. Now, that don't mean, going out doing all kind of crazy stuff, but actually really trying to figure out, who you are, what figuring out what your why is. So really trying to figure that part out, and then grabbing a hold of your purpose to get the momentum going. Those things they gotta happen. And to be honest with you, it's something that individuals crave. Now, this new millennium of folk, I don't know. Some of them really creative, and they really trying to find out. I do believe they're a lot bolder than we were. A lot bolder, a lot more carefree. But
I think, but ultimately, still trying to figure it out.
So, what I've learned in the relationship is that you have to give room for that transition to actually happen, especially if you marry and you haven't figured it out. You haven't figured out who you are. You have to allow for that to happen, but communication has to happen so the trust won't break. So if you don't like something no more, or if you don't feel a certain way about something no more, or whatever the case is, then a conversation need to be had with your spouse. It don't need to be just a big change. I think one time in our relationship, I had hair and, everything. And then, I don't know, I think it might have been overnight or whatever, but, I shaved my hair, threw 2 earrings in, got tattoos, and Deirdra was looking like, what is going on with you, dude?
But I liked it. Well, after the initial shock, like, okay, so who are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So she's still trying to get me to put these earrings back in my ear.
I said, no, just tell it right. Because it's not like I'm trying to get you to be that person or, put the earrings back in.
She said she wanted the earrings back in, but she wants the same person.
Right. But I said I wanted that as a part of my birthday present. Did I not?
You did.
I didn't say I want you to put them back in and keep them in. I said I wanted that as a part. They do have the little tape on. I could tape them on if the hole's closed.
Yeah, that's not
okay.
Right.
All right. Anyway, okay. He won't oblige me. But
even with my wife, her trying to really figure out who she was. She used to come home, and her hair used to be green, purple.
Never been green. Never been purple.
It has been purple before.
It's been red.
It's been red.
It's been red. It's been blonde. I've had red hair. I have had blonde hair. Like a softer blonde. It's been in that family. I've never had purple hair, baby.
Well, that's the story.
That must be was your boo thing, because I didn't have no purple hair.
That's the story I tell.
And that's it's a story.
Anyway, but with trust. With the trust part, that part is the transitioning. And what happens is a lot of people don't like the change that happens, especially if they can see it physically. So what usually happens is they get themselves in a little tizzy and want to know, who you doing this for? Why are you changing the way you look? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And that can weigh on the trust in the relationship.
Throw up some flags.
Yeah,
it most definitely can.
Especially if you got friends who is in the amen corner, who is yes people and not actually,
You deterred?
No, I got something on my phone that said call 911, and I was like, what? Never mind.
It's a scam email?
I'm good. No, it's good.
Oh.
It's all good.
About to say, what in the world is going on?
But but to allow that part to happen. Now what I will say, is I'm gonna hit this. You have to just say, are you trying to sign in?
Oh, mine just did the same thing too.
Okay. So I said that to say, there's a lot of levels and turns to trusting. It's not one single thing. So what I said in the beginning, that, when couples first get married, they don't 100% trust. A lot of couples will probably say, that's not us. We not doing that. Even with Deirdra, she said, I 100% trust you when we got married because we was dating. But it's still the fact that you still, if you still trying to figure out who you are, and I'll tell you this, even if you know who you are, but you get married, that's a whole nother creation that has to happen. That has to develop. You being a husband and moving as one with your wife, and vice versa. So that's something that has to develop and transition as well. So while you're trying to figure that out, there might be red flags that come up that tell you, something ain't right. They change in the place of where you don't need to trust them no more. So I can say this, without trust, I do not believe that the relationship will work.
You believe right, because
I
how
don't
can
believe the relationship will work. If I don't trust my wife 100% with everything, my deep darkest secrets, the finances, the just everything, then yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem.
That is a problem, y'all. I'm not laughing at Johnny saying that's a problem. Something happened,
So
but yeah, I was just not to deter from talking about trust in a marital relationship. Um, but I was just talking to somebody, and this was on work related, um, about trust in. We were talking about trust too,
yeah,
in the with your team, with your work team and stuff like that. But just the one thing I wanted to insert before you went where you were going is that trust is important in any relationship.
it is.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a big thing, because if you have no trust, how can you cultivate a relationship with anybody? That means they're suspect. They're a
Yeah,
little suspect to you. So everything they say or they question or they may do, you may think is motives behind it.
yeah,
Whatever. If they saying something, if you got to go through thinking to think about, were they telling the truth? Were they lying? Were they, making something up? It's going to leave you in a place of always wondering if they're telling the truth or if they're lying. And if you got to think about, if you really got to put that much effort and energy into thinking about if, and back to the trust in marriage, if you have to put that much energy into wondering if your spouse is telling you the truth, if they were really here but they was lying, telling you they were there, if they did something with the finances, um or messing up with the finances, and you wondering if they gonna do what they supposed to do, if that's what your relationship is based on, and there's no trust, and there's no trust or there's very little trust, and both of you are not working to build the trust back up, then the marriage is not going to sustain,
yeah,
because you don't have faith in that person.
yeah.
You're going to be in a state of turmoil. And why be married and be unhappy and always wondering, like, where are you? Are you where you say you going? When you say you love me, do you really love me? when you say you want me, when you say you need me, but yet something else is taking your attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For me, that's just a continuous process, because even when we were in the middle of, I think the greatest turmoil in our marriage, I was at a point to where, even though I was questioning you, I still really wanted to trust you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because even though we were in a funky place, I knew that I still wanted to be with you. I knew that I wanted our marriage to work. I knew that I wanted our family. But I also knew that it was going to take the work to build the trust back up.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to let you, the process for us to get to that was for me to be okay with asking and not afraid to ask you whatever I needed to ask you.
And on my side, I had to tell you the absolute truth.
Right.
No matter how many times you asked me.
But what was funny in that, even though I felt you made me feel as if I could come to you and ask you, because you were going to be there, because you owned up to the responsibility, owned up to the fact that you did mess up. You made me comfortable enough to know that I could come to you and ask you at whatever time it was whatever was going on, and that you would tell me. But even in you telling me, there was still a part of me that was saying, is that the truth?
Yeah.
Is he leaving something out?
And the crazy thing is, every time you ask the same question to the same stories that I told you, and it never wavered. I always told you the same thing.
So the consistency of, you telling the truth, and you telling the same, story. You weren't changing it up as we went along. It was the consistency of that helped to bring back, to help build upon what we were trying to build towards, or what we did build towards. So, the relationship just won't stand.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. So trust is the feeling of emotional, physical, psychological security generated when a person is consistent with their behavior.
I just said, because it's consistency.
It's being consistent.
Yeah.
So let me explain, and a lot of people don't understand. So even if when I make, so see how I can explain this. Even if you don't trust your partner, it makes the counterpartner hide stuff, because they don't feel like they can say certain things and trust that person with it. So it literally puts a wedge in your relationship.
Yep.
And it started because if Deirdra asks me to do something, or I ask her to do something, and I just can't trust her in that area, and she showed me and we had conversations about it, then what I do is I pull that area out of me and Deirdra and I make it mine. So I have to just do it myself. I had to figure it out myself, type thing. And it makes you keep secrets. So trust, when it's not there, man, it can cause so many different things. Trust, I give an example of trust being like a major car accident, or a major injury. So this the thing, if I break my leg, it only take a minute or a second for something to happen. A broken leg, a broken arm, a punctured something. It only takes a second for that to happen. Mm-hmm. But it takes a long time for the recovery to actually happen. And that's what a lot of people don't comprehend and understand, that when you hurt someone and break the trust in your relationship, it's equivalent to something is broken. Mm-hmm. And it needs time to heal. And what a lot of people don't see is because it's your emotions and your feelings, and the trust is broken. They feel like once the truth is out, then the healing part shouldn't take as long. And that's a myth. That's not the truth. It takes long. And you have to be a part I had to be a part in my wife's recovery and the therapy, and for her I had to be a part of everything. So because I hurt her and broke the trust, I had to be the one there. I had to wipe the wound. I had to, when it started bleeding, or, if it looked like it was getting infected, I had to wipe it. And I equivalate that to when, her heart was heavy and her mind went back there, that was her, it was bleeding. It was getting infected again. So she wanted to talk, and what I had to do is I had to treat the infection. So I had to give her what she needed, whatever that might have been, to help her heal. Now, my part in the healing wasn't a big percentage, but it was needed. The healing part had to come from God, and the forgiveness had to come from Him. He had to heal that. But I had to be a part of the therapy. I had to be a part of the healing. I was the one that hurt her, so I needed to be a part of the healing. And that's what a lot of people don't comprehend. Because it's feeling, because it's not a broken leg, or because it's not a punctured lung or something like that, then you feel like, once it's out, everybody should feel good, especially the person that actually broke the trust. They just feel like it should be over quick, and that's not just how it works. So what I'm going to do is we're going to say a couple of things. We're going to explain a couple of things why trust is important and why it's important to continue to build it.
Can I just insert this? Everything is flows out of that, flows down from that, because you can love your spouse, but don't trust them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I said about you keep that person out of certain areas of your life. So if I don't trust you with the finances. So now I got a whole checking account over here that you don't know about, and I got different things going on over here. And a lot of people might say, well, if she ain't good with the finances, or he ain't good with the finances, why do I need to let her touch it? That's not how it's supposed to be. It is important that whichever spouse is stronger in whatever area, then you allow them to do that. But I can't have 2-3 checking accounts and Deirdra don't know about it. That just can't happen. She knows about it. She can see into it. She can do all that. And then we agree that if I'm the person that's good with the finances, then I'm going to push the button. So we have a conversation. We'll decide on what we can do. And then I'm the one to push the button. I'm the one to save. I'm the one to do. That's all a conversation. Where people get it messed up at is when, they see their spouse don't know how to do finances, then we're not a team no more. So now I got to do this by myself because we ain't a team no more. I can't get him that, I got this stuff going over here. And if I ain't never, if I didn't save the money, we wouldn't have got this. If I didn't do this, we wouldn't have got that. And, but it's the fact that if she don't know, if he don't know, then that's a problem. I think we read a question about a couple, and I think the woman was hiding money. She had a different checking account or something, and her husband trusted her and gave her all the money, but she had a whole nother checking account or something that he didn't know about. Mm-hmm. You don't remember that question?
I don't.
Yeah.
All my mind went to was when
he found out
when the man wanted the woman to borrow the money and then get the loans out and stuff like that.
This was happening, and then the man found out about it. She didn't tell him, but he found out about it. And then, when I said the man, the husband found out about it, and he was upset. He felt like he couldn't trust her no more.
Yeah.
And she said, basically, she felt bad, and, she wanted to know how to fix it and everything. But So it's important. This is why it's important to build trust. So I'm gonna ask you these things. Well, I'm not gonna ask you these. I'm gonna say these things. Number one, it decreased conflict. Do you believe that?
You said the reason why it's important
Yeah. Why is it
to
important
build
to build
trust.
trust? Yeah. These are the things. These are the
Okay.
benefits from it.
Okay.
So it decreases
It
conflict.
decreases conflict.
You believe
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely.
All right. Number two, trust gives people room to do their own thing.
Trust gives people room to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Are they saying that because you're not speculating on where your spouse is at, or
Well,
you believe them?
what it means is me and you don't always want to do the same thing.
Okay.
So if you want to do something different from what I'm doing, then I'm not questioning where you at, who you with,
Right.
all that.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
gives, if the trust is you can leave here, you can make plans to do something, you can go on a trip, and I'm good
Yeah.
because I trust you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what that
I
means.
strongly agree.
Trust
Yeah.
creates a deeper connection.
It does. Absolutely.
So revealing your true self to someone, whether it's your deepest fears or a weird snacking habit, means putting yourself out there. It's not an easy ask of you or your partner, but having a foundation of trust in a relationship does make being vulnerable a little easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because there are times when I tell you, like, okay, I need to be the patient, or I need to be the client, and I need you to be the therapist.
yeah.
And those are in those moments where, and I'm serious when I say that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need husband Johnny. I need you to be objective. Because at the end of the day, I know you're going to tell me the truth. Whether it's what I want to hear or not. But there are times when I just need you to be in that therapist mindset. And I need you to, sometimes I just want you to listen. Sometimes I do want you to give me feedback and,
Yeah.
but those are for the times when I think I'm most like toiling with something and about how I'm feeling or whatever, and you get it all.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay with being vulnerable with you, because there's no judgment, there's no condemnation, but you are giving me, you always lead me to Christ, and then you give me scenarios, and you give me solutions. Because you're solution minded. You also give great analogies to help me kind of wrap my mind around it, and
Yeah.
what I got going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things is, this is the greatest thing about the deeper connection, because if I'm vulnerable, then I don't have the stressors of trying to be somebody that I'm not.
Yeah,
It gives me
absolutely.
it gives me that platform to just be me.
Mm-hmm.
And once you are comfortable with just being you, flaws and all,
Mm-hmm.
the great stuff and all, then it like frees you up to allow yourself to build from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a marriage, that's important. And then once the deeper level is there, then it's stuff that we know about each other, that we strengthen each other, that we move as one, and we don't focus on the flaws or the weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on the strengths, and we
Right.
rise above everything through that.
Right.
So I think that's a very important one. All right, it said, how can you build trust in a relationship? One is be there when they need you.
Be there. Be consistent.
Yeah.
Be solid.
Yeah, when life hits you in the gut and in your face and unexpected stuff happens that brings out a different response out of your spouse, and that will happen,
Yeah.
be there for them, even if it's something you've never seen before. Be there for them. This is what I found. If life throws something at me that I've never seen before and I respond different, then if I'm in a bad place, because Deirdra is there to help me, it brings out something brand new in her to help me get through it.
That's good. That's exactly what I was just thinking.
So it's almost like situations create new characteristics in you, and some of this stuff is needed. So if it brings out something different in me that frustrates me and it's a little negative, then Deirdra, it brings out something different in her to support that, undergird that, and cultivate that and help me get through it.
Right.
Which means now I have another characteristic of integrity that if something like this happens, it just open up a whole new level. Now I can respond different. Now I can create solutions for certain things and vice versa. So a lot of people look at different stuff as just horrible, bad, negative, and you have to stop looking at your life like that. I was looking at different glasses just on Google, just looking at, the glass being half full and half empty, and how people really focus on them not having a full glass. But at the end of the day, you're focused on something that's not there and not working with what you have in the part of the glass that is water. So it's like you want to move, you want to go up levels, but you focus on all this up here that's nothing is in here. But the water is down here, and you're not nurturing that, you're not cultivating that, you're not growing that, you're not doing nothing with this. What you got that's tangible in your hand, you worried about this up here, this stuff that you ain't got. So when you work on what you have, that can move you and transition you into the glass being full.
Actually full.
Yeah. So a lot of people worry about the unseen and what you haven't done yet, but don't cultivate or nurture or grow what you have in your hands. So
then they stay in that place being anxious about what's to come. Let me say this real quick about the part that you said. You may go through something that challenges you, that tests you, that frustrates you, all those things that you were just saying.
Yeah.
And how I'm able to come in and it pulls something out of me because in response to what you're going through, the Lord has already equipped me to give you what you need.
Yeah.
Because because I am your rib, and so I already know what's needed, or the Holy Spirit gives me what's needed at that moment, at that point in time. That's going to help you understand the lesson and what you're going through. What I thought about when you were saying that, because it was what I was thinking. I was like, well, yeah, because when he goes through stuff, it's something that's never happened before. And so now what the Lord has given me is something that I may not have said before, but say this, give this. Okay, don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now pray. And so that leads me to the scripture that I thought about when you said it was, all things work for the good of those who love the Lord, who has been called according to his purposes, because we love him and we've been called according to his purpose. When that thing comes, or that situation has been allowed to impact you or come upon you, I'm able to come in and say, okay, wait a minute. I know you frustrated. I know you want to fight. I know you want to cuss. I know you want to do all these things. However, look at it from this perspective. Look at what is going. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at the lesson in it. Because if that didn't happen, you wouldn't know this.
Yeah.
If that didn't happen, you wouldn't be able to, do this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we do for one another. You know what I'm saying? We come in with a different perspective to say, okay, this has happened. Um, this has happened, but Deidre, look at it from this perspective. Take a minute, breathe, don't go off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't, get in your flesh and go off on somebody, but back up for a minute and just think about it.
Yeah.
So this has happened. This is the lesson. I know you want to do this, but this is the lesson. This is what's happening right here. See it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You quickly jerk me. You snatch me back into, what it is and get out of my flesh.
Yeah.
And so that's a part of me trusting you to turn me and to point me to God when I want to turn away from him and do what I want to do in my flesh. And I think the same thing for you. And so that's why trust is so vital in relationships, because of course there's different areas. Okay, so you may trust him in this area, but you don't really trust him in the finances. And for a while that's where we were. That's how I felt. But it's just important in every area. It's important that it's solid. It's important that it's nurtured. It's important that it's built. And, I know and I was just sitting here thinking, we push, date night, and we push, laughing and all these things and enjoying your spouse and all this stuff or whatever. But at the end of the day, if there is no spouse, Lord, if there is no trust, then these other things ain't happening.
Yeah.
Because you may love them. Yeah, you love them. But if you don't trust them, then that's what you're going to be consumed with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even if it's one area and it's not the next, even if it's in, at that point, when we were rebuilding the trust, Johnny, I didn't trust you in that area, which was, as far as, infidelity.
Yeah.
I trusted you to be a good father still to your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I trusted the fact that, you were still going, you were still able to take care of us financially. It was just the area of, the relationship of
Our relationship.
Our relationship,
Yeah.
what we, our union, our marriage that you stepped out of.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the fact that you were just horrible in every area. The trust was nil to none. It was. But the love was still there.
Yeah.
And so because I loved you, and I asked God, like, why? But you know what? That wasn't the first time, because even before we got married, and during that period of time when you were scared and you denied Brianna, and we weren't talking and all that stuff, Johnny, I loved you, and I didn't know why I still did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and so fast forward to the infidelity. I loved you, but I loved you, but I didn't know why I still did. I was trying to tell myself, like, why do you still love him after he's done this to you? Why do you still love him?
So let me put this part there. So, like I said, I had to be a huge part of the therapy, the healing process for you. So the crazy thing about that is a lot of people, when infidelity does happen, and either the man or the woman just said, I still love them, then what happens is they wind up saying, well, this is just who he is, or this is just who she is, so I just got to, keep tabs on him, make sure he ain't help him or help her be faithful. And that's not what it is. That's a lot of work in a relationship, y'all, to try to keep tabs on somebody. The best thing I could have done for our relationship when that happened was to be present. To be present, engage, have conversations, answer questions, be vulnerable. I just had to be that. I wasn't 100%. I had a fantasy of why I did what I did, but once the reality, and we talked about this before. You have a fantasy and reality, and if you in your fantasy for too long, then in your mind it transitions to your reality that you think it is, until the reality come and crush the fantasy. Mm-hmm. And that's when stuff come out, when people feelings come out, when the truth comes out, all that stuff is gone. So the reality comes in, and my biggest thing was I didn't, my wife gave me her heart and I crushed it. So me seeing the pain on her face, and I said this before, even with the other young lady, I told her things that wasn't true, but I drug her along in my fantasy, which wasn't hers. It was a reality for her. But because I didn't have the courage to cut it off and get back with my wife, it came out. And now somebody had to get hurt. So I have, and that sounds horrible, but when that happens, you got to make a decision. I couldn't have her happy and my wife happy. It wasn't going to work. So I had to make a decision, and then it had to be a cold turkey thing. So, it was just what it was. I apologize, that I hurt. I couldn't apologize to her, but, that is just what was what it was. But at the end of the day, when my family and that young lady was put here, I had to make a decision. And I decided my wife and my kids was more important. That doesn't make her not important. She just didn't have a place. She had a fake place in my life. I created a fake place for her in my life. And that's just being real. So when the reality hit, when I chose my wife and my family, I had to move 100% in that direction. And I had to be a part of my wife healing, and I had to be a part of the healing of our relationship. I had to be a part of that. And I was vulnerable. I was engaged. I was there. I was truthful, everything. But it had to happen for however long. See, it took a second for my wife to find out, but then it took a long time for the healing to actually happen.
And that's how it is with trust. It takes a while to build it up. It's going, and it can be gone, in an instant. Yeah. And even with that, Johnnie, I think the girl, she had a certain amount of responsibility in it as well, because she knew, she knew you were married. She knew you had kids. Granted, you were telling her that. Weren't you telling her you was going to leave me? Or you was going to be with her? I did. And I think that was a part of the fantasy. You know what I'm saying?
But it was me telling her to keep the fantasy alive. But in her life, it was her reality. See, and that's the thing when you doing stuff like this, it's lies all the way around. I had to lie to Deirdra, I had to lie to her. So the fantasy, to keep everybody in the fantasy. So at the end of the day, but this is that thing, at the end of the day, it wasn't a fantasy for her. It wasn't. It was a reality for her.
Well, it should have been a fantasy for her, because you weren't her husband. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't.
You were my husband. And because she wasn't called to you, she wasn't your rib, then it wasn't going to work out. Even no matter what type of, fantasies, or no matter what type of illusions that was trying to be built up.
All right.
Let me say this. You have to, for us to build it back up, guys, or for you to build it back up, if I'm talking to somebody who's in that space, you got to be consistent. You got to want it. And I had to really lean on, okay, God, this is what I feel like you are leading me to do, is to stay with this man, because I do love him and I do want to be with him, but give me the strength, give me the, the endurance, give me the, whatever it is that I need to go through this, because I know we're going to have some, rocky days. I know we're going to have some hard days, but I do want to remain in this marriage, because I believe that this is what you ordained. And so even in that, you know, like Johnny said, he was consistent and telling me, you have to be consistent, husbands or wives, because it could have been you that stepped out, wife. But you have to be consistent in these things, consistent in the relationship, and be there and be, be transparent. One thing that we shared with a couple, be honest about how you feel in that moment. Don't just try to act like you're okay because he wants you to be okay, or try to be okay because she wants you to be okay. Say how you feel. Because again, y'all are building the trust back up in your relationship. Be honest about how you feel. I wasn't afraid to tell Johnny how I felt or didn't feel or whatever. I was just honest. This is where I am.
And I was honest with her.
Right. And
This
so
is
be
what it
honest,
is.
because if you're building trust back up, if you lying about how you feel, that ain't real trust.
Yeah.
You're just going to build back up false trust, distrust, whatever. You're going to build it back up, and you still going to be, and then when there is no progress, or when the progress is slow, you're going to wonder why. But that's why.
Yeah.
Or you might have this outburst, and it might be 6 months later, and he thinking, well, I thought she was okay because we've been doing okay. But you're not telling the truth. You got to be honest. You got to be transparent. You got to be consistent. And go to God. That needs to be first and foremost. And, give him your marriage. And say, okay, God, do what you need to do in us. Because we didn't go to a marriage counselor. We didn't, go to this person or that person, or, seek these sessions or whatever. Although we believe in it, we tell y'all that was back in the day. And so the Lord, that's why we tell y'all all the time, the Lord did this.
Okay, we got to go.
I know we do. So that's the Lord did it. Okay. So
we probably gonna do a part 2 to this.
Right, because we're not
finished.
finished.
More we needed to say.
Right.
But we really wanted to focus on the building and the positive momentum of trust, because most people, they focus on the trust is broken and what happened. He cheated,
Right.
she cheated, whatever it is, and then the other areas don't seem as important, the
Right.
finances and all this other stuff. So what we wanted to do is give you tips on how to build the relationship and make it strong. Build the trust and make it strong. But we got to go, y'all. We got an appointment we got to be to.
We do.
So this has been Moments with the Mobleys. Look for a part 2.
Yeah.
Check us out on all things Mobleys, www.momentswiththemobleys.com. All things Mobleys. You can find us everywhere with that. This has been Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnny Mobley Jr.
I'm his wife, Deirdra.
And we still something like an ordinary couple.
With
y'all.
extraordinary purpose.
Peace out.
Night, night, guys.